the Dog Witch podcast, where we help you create happy, healthy and relaxed dogs. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Dog Witch podcast. I am Lisa McCabe, your host and also the Dog Witch. And well, I've not really updated the podcast for the last few weeks because my children have been off on their summer holidays. They are now back to school, yay! And although the rest of the UK has been baking in sunshine and are desperate for a bit of rain, here, certainly in my little corner of Scotland anyway, it feels like Elsa has visited us and given us an eternal winter. We had a couple of weeks of sunshine at the start of the holidays, and the rest of the time, in my opinion, it has been freezing cold and rainy, and yeah, just a bit miserable. But thankfully that has continued now that the kids are back to school, because usually the typical thing that happens is that the kids go back to school and then we get lovely sunny weather. But we're still in eternal winter here. We're still in Elsa land here in Scotland. So today I just would love to talk to you about eggshells, of all things. Eggshells, if you eat eggs regularly, you're probably chucking out all these eggshells and you're not even giving it a second thought. But actually these can be really useful for your dog. They can have a great impact on their health and well-being if they need it. If you kind of grind them down and make them into an eggshell powder, it can be a really good source of calcium. And you know, the things that I like about it is that it's not another supplement. You're not having to go out and spend money on, you know, something else. You've already got it and you're reducing the food waste, so it's a kind of win-win situation. It's something that's going to be mega beneficial for your dog. So what is eggshell powder for dogs? It's literally as it says on the tin. It is just eggshells cleaned and dried out and ground right down into a really fine powder. Eggshells themselves are predominantly made of calcium carbonate, so that's making the eggshell or the egg powder itself into a really concentrated source of calcium. And calcium is obviously great for dogs to maintain healthy teeth and bones, as well as their normal kind of like muscle and nerve function. So eggshells can be important, particularly for my dog Zach, or for people like me who like to do lots of homemade food, homemade feeding. If you're giving your dog a homemade diet, then it's great for being able to add in that source of calcium. If your dog is already eating, you know, a complete kind of like shop bought meal plan, then you're probably already getting enough calcium. But this is just a really super easy and quick and cheap way of adding the calcium that your dog kind of requires into their diet without having to go out there and spend any extra money, which is brilliant. That's really what I love about, you know, my work as a dog witch, is just finding all these wee solutions that don't really cost you very much and things that you would maybe never really think of. So it's not something that every dog needs, as I say, because, you know, if you are feeding your dog, you know, a complete diet, you know, a commercially based complete diet, then, you know, they probably don't need the extra calcium, and sometimes too much calcium can be a wee bit problematic. You can cause like tummy upsets and things like that. But, you know, I would speak to someone like me, or speak to your vet, or speak to a dog nutritionist if it's something that you're looking to add into your dog's diet, if it's something that you're looking to think about. Don't just simply add it in because it's natural and you think, oh, Lisa said, you know, that's natural and I should really add that to my dog's diet. Please don't do that. Speak to me, speak to your vet, speak to someone that you trust about your dog's health and well-being, and get some advice before you start adding it in. So what are the benefits of eggshell powder for dogs? Well, as I said, you know, it's full of calcium, so this does kind of several important jobs within your dog's body. It is good for maintaining healthy bones, you know, the normal development and maintenance of their skeleton, which is fabulous. And getting the right amount of calcium throughout your dog's life is, you know, key to their development and to their health and well-being. But it's not just simply about getting enough. The balance of calcium and other nutrients within the diet matters, like like supporting healthy teeth. Calcium does play an important role in supporting the healthy teeth, but it doesn't magically fix any dental disease or any issue that your dog's going on there. So if your dog does have dental issues, don't start firing eggshell powder into their dinner, because it's not going to solve the issues. Unfortunately, kind of same with us, dogs haven't discovered a magic shortcut around brushing their teeth either. You do have to take those other steps to help look after your dog's teeth. But like with us, like getting the calcium in there, supporting the teeth and the gums and the bones is definitely going to help. And getting adequate calcium is great for overall just nutritional health when it comes to your dog. And it's calcium kind of helps with the normal kind of muscle concentration, the nerve function. It has like a really good role within your dog's body, and it is considered an essential mineral rather than simply just something that we associate with skeletal health. It's something that we kind of add into our own diet, and we're aware that we need to do that. And there's another kind of argument as well with the eggshell powder. You maybe have read articles online, you've seen people talking about it. Is it good for gut health? And I would say possibly be a bit kind of cautious about that. It is a good source of calcium is what I would say with eggshell powder. There's not really enough evidence out there as yet to kind of back up whether or not it is good for maintaining a healthy gut. I would always recommend things like kefir and sweet potatoes and Greek yogurt. All those kind of things are really, really good for helping to establish a healthy gut, which is amazing. So like in the eggshell, there's this little kind of white membrane, and that has the potential for joint health, but I wouldn't necessarily say to you that eggshell powder is great for gut problems or any other health condition like arthritis, anything like that. What I would say is we're mostly looking at the calcium element of it. It's I wouldn't say to you use eggshell powder to treat these ailments, because that's not what it's for. And yeah, we're just thinking about adding in natural things to healthily support your dog, along with other things that you're already using, whether it's medication from the vet, whether it's their food, whatever. But that's why I'm saying that it's so important to be able to kind of get out there and speak to an expert, someone that knows what they're talking about, before you start firing this into your dog's dinner. Making it at home is so super easy. You crack your eggs, and normally you would just chuck your eggshells in the bin. Don't do that. What I normally do is I will clean them out with boiling water, and then I will leave them to dry. And once they're dried out, I will then shove them in the oven at about 150 degrees for about 10 minutes or so, and that just makes sure that we're kind of killing off any sort of bacteria, because eggs, as you know, have the potential to carry things like salmonella, bacteria, things like that. So we don't want that getting into our dog's tummies. So if you do that, then it will certainly get rid of all that nasty bacteria, and it will make it really, really safe for your dog. And then what you do is I just pop the eggshells into pestle and mortar, and I just grind it down. You can use things like a coffee grinder or a spice grinder if you've got anything for herbs and spices and things like that. I would necessarily use the one that you use for your coffee. I would maybe get one just to keep for that, but I love just doing the old pestle and mortar and getting in there and really kind of grinding it down. I feel like I've achieved something when I do that, and I just make a big batch, pop it into a tub, and it's there, and I just sprinkle it over Zach's dinner, literally half a teaspoon over his dinner every day, and that's what he gets. But that is because I feed him a homemade diet, so I'm just making sure that I'm topping up his calcium reserves and making sure that he gets all the the nutrients that he needs. And that is really it in a nutshell. Not an eggshell, in a nutshell. That is how you make the eggshell powder for your dog. It is so easy. I have actually made a little video which is on my YouTube channel, and it's also on my Instagram and stuff as well. So if you're looking for some tips on how to make it, then it's there. Go and grab that video, have a wee watch of it, and go through the steps with me. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you're finding that maybe the steps aren't clear enough, or I go through them too quickly or whatever, just give me a shout and ask me, hey Lisa, how is it exactly I do that? But what I will also say is that I have done a blog about this, and it gives you step-by-step instructions on the blog as well, which is available on the Dog Witch website. You just pop onto the blog page, search for eggshell powder for dogs, and if you're on the mailing list you will get it automatically as well, but it is there on the website for you to use, so please do it. And last thing I'll kind of say is, not every dog needs this eggshell powder, and I would be careful if your dog is pregnant, if they are nursing, if they have ongoing health conditions, or they're maybe taking some medication from the vet. I would maybe seek some advice over whether or not your dog actually needs to pop that into their food. And it's a case of how much eggshell powder should you give your dog. Again, it's a case of how much or how long is a piece of string. There's so many varying factors: their size, their age, their weight, what they're eating, what kind of calcium already exists within their diet, whether or not you're giving them bones. Zach will not eat bones at all. He is too posh to gnaw on a bone. A raw broccoli stalk, he will backflip for, but if I give him a bone, he is like, what is that? I am not touching that, mum. And I have never met a dog like that. Any dogs that I've had before have always loved bones, and they've always loved chewing bones and getting stuck right in there. So that's why I kind of have to top up his calcium reserves. And yeah, that's just how simple and easy it is to do. And these are all things that I am passionate about. That I love going down like little rabbit holes and finding everyday things that we can use, just to make our lives a little bit easier, but also to protect our dog's health and well-being as well. And these are all things that I love to share over on the Dog Witch Magic Circle. So if you're sitting there kind of going, oh, I would really love to learn about that, and I would love to pick her brains about X, Y, and Z. I would love to find out about essential oils. I would love to find out how to use less toxins in my home. All of that gets covered within the Dog Witch Magic Circle. There is a whole host of, there's a library there of blogs and recipes and things for you to use. I do like kind of live check-ins with you, so you can come along, regularly and pick my brain. There's a community of other like-minded dog lovers there as well, so you and your dog can make friends. And yeah, I just love meeting people and their dogs, and I just love kind of geeking out about this sort of stuff. So if you're a wee bit geeky like me and you love all this sort of stuff, and you're totally focused on your dog's health and well-being, then I would love to see you in there in the Dog Witch Magic Circle. Come and join my little gang. That would be amazing. You can find out about that again. I'll put the links in the show notes, but you can also find out about it on the Dog Witch website. You just head for the Magic Circle, and kind of join us in there. I would love to see you. But if not, I am the Joe Wicks of dog care. I love to share loads of free stuff, because I believe that this stuff should be free and accessible to everyone. So I regularly share blogs, podcasts, videos, you name it, I will share it with you. But yeah, if you would love to get a bit more of me, and kind of create that little bit of bond with other amazing dog owners, then definitely I would say come along to the Magic Circle. You would be super welcome. But that is me for now, and hopefully we'll maybe get a little bit of sunshine over the next little while, and I'll be back to chat to you soon about something amazing dog related. Take care, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care, bye. Thank you for listening to the latest edition of the Dog Witch podcast. Don't forget to tune in to our next episode soon.